Today I'm going to take you through the pros and the cons of living in Fishers, Indiana. By the end of this video, you should be able to determine if living in Fishers is right for you and your family. Before we start, I'm Cameron Geesaman, your favorite Indianapolis YouTubing realtor, and I love sharing information about the Indy area with people like you who are maybe deciding whether or not to move to the area. Now today, I'm going to be focusing on Fishers, one of the main four cities in Hamilton County on the north side of Indianapolis. Now first, I'm going to give you a bit of general information about Fishers, then talk about the pros and then the cons. Make sure to stick around to the end for an exciting announcement about Fishers that you won't want to miss. Fishers is a suburb of Indianapolis located in Hamilton County and is one of, if not maybe the best places to live in Indiana per niche.com. Now Fishers has over 100,000 residents with a median household income of about $117,000. According to Niche, 77% of all Fishers residents own their home, and only about 66% have a bachelor's degree or higher. Homes in the city of Fishers have a median sales price of about $405,000, and there's only about 98 homes currently on the market, and right now they're going fast. Let's start with the pros of living in Fishers, Indiana. And the first thing I want to talk about is the school system. Now, the public school system in Fishers is called Hamilton Southeastern Schools, or HSE, Hamilton Southeastern, which gets its name from being located in the southeastern corner of Hamilton County. Now, HSE schools have 2 high schools, 4 junior highs, 4 intermediate schools, and 13 elementary schools. There are more than 21,000 students in the school system, which also employs more than 2,500 staff. HSE Schools is an A-rated school corporation by the Indiana Department of Education and the 4th largest school system in the state of Indiana. The graduation rate at HSE schools is 98%, which is more than the neighboring Carmel school system. And my point here is that HSE schools are highly rated. So if you're looking for an area near Indy to live with a great school system, Fishers just might be that place. Another great thing about living in Fishers is all the outdoor activities you have access to. And there are so many that I could probably dedicate a whole video to this topic. Maybe I should do that. But here I'm just gonna go over some of the highlights. Fishers is the home to Conner Prairie, a living history museum that is part of the Smithsonian Institute. Aside from touring the museum itself, which is quite remarkable, Conner Prairie also hosts other activities like History on Tap, one of our favorites, Symphony on the Prairie, which is amazing, The Headless Horseman, so great for kids, and many others. If you like outdoor activities like I do, then Hamilton County has more than 100 different parks that are free to explore, and many of them are actually in Fishers. If you like golf, then there are several golf courses in Fishers along with the ever popular Top Golf. And if lake life is your thing, then you'll probably love Geitz Reservoir, which is lined with all kinds of luxury homes, restaurants, and walking trails. Summer on Geitz is a blast. You'll find people boating, fishing, relaxing, and everything in between. And speaking of summer, that segues nicely into my next pro about living in Fishers, Indiana, and that's the weather. Yes, I have complained about Midwest weather in some of my other videos about the Indy metro area, but I also think it's important to point out that a lot of us love that here in Indiana, we get to experience all 4 seasons. Right now, it's winter, so it's cold, snowy, and gray. It's great outside. It's gray outside. But eventually that will give way to spring, and we'll start to get some warm days in March or April, which will bring some spring rain and blooming flowers. Once summer begins, it's nothing but blue skies, green grass, birds chirping, and it's hot and humid here, which can get into the low 90s with fairly high humidity. Sounded really fancy. But by the time you're sick of hot summer weather, fall comes around and it's time to get out those fall sweaters. I do love fall sweaters. And gather around the campfire with friends. You see, having all 4 seasons isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just need to have the right expectation for what that looks like. It was like a book. I was like reading a book. The next topic I want to discuss, which I consider a pro of living in Fishers, is how safe the city is. Now, Fishers was named the nation's 2nd safest city by Money Geek in its annual analysis of 302 U.S. cities with populations of 100,000 people or more. Earlier in 2023, Fishers also placed fourth in America's safest suburbs of 2023 from Smart Asset, with a violent crime rate lower than 84% of other suburbs analyzed. And all of these safety ratings wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the hardworking men and women at the Fishers Police Department. Thank you for keeping our community safe. The last pro about living in Fishers, Indiana, I want to discuss is all of the excellent dining options. There are fine dining options, gastropubs, fast casual, and fast food options. In the yard at Fishers District, you have Sun King Brewery with the popular Test Kitchen, which has 3 rotating restaurants that give diners lots of different options every year. A couple of blocks away, we have one of my favorites, which is Four Day Ray, which is a brewery with a scratch kitchen. It's so good. Looking for a good coffee shop that isn't Starbucks? Then you've got Schoolhouse 7, MOTW, or Memento Zero Proof, just to name a few. Some of my other favorite places to grab a bite to eat are Simono's, Pearl Street Pizzeria, and Wild Ginger, just to name a few. Fishers really does have a large variety of dining options. Okay, before we get into the downsides of living in Fishers, Indiana, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Fishers area anytime in the, say, 2 weeks, 2 months, or even 2 years or longer, we would love to help. Listen, I love helping people like you buy or sell your first, next, or last home in the Fishers area. I've been a professional realtor for 20 years in the metro area, which includes Fishers, so I'm very familiar with the city and what it takes to properly market and sell your home here. My contact information is below, and don't forget to stick around to the end of the video, as I want to talk about something really cool that's coming to Fishers that you don't want to miss. All right, now into the list of cons of living in Fishers, Indiana. The first one I want to talk about is the sheer amount of construction going on in Fishers at the moment. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that a growing city has growing pains, and construction is one of them. If Fishers wants to attract more people to live, work, and play here, then more multi-use condos, apartments, restaurants, and so on need to be built. But if you're a Fishers resident, it feels like a road, roundabout, or a building is always under construction, especially in downtown Fishers. And all this construction also leads to traffic delays in downtown Fishers and neighboring areas. But again, those are just growing pains that Fishers residents have to go through to make the city a more desirable location to live. Construction sucks. The second downside to living in Fishers is that there is no real public transportation option to get to downtown Indianapolis or the airport. Right now, there are several different routes you can drive to get to downtown Indy or the airport, but all of them are currently under construction. It would be great to be able to have an option to get to a Colts or Indian game via subway or a train or something like that, but we don't have those options, honestly, here right now. You pretty much only have 2 options when traveling downtown: either drive yourself or take an Uber or taxi. Again, it would be nice to have other options when traveling downtown, but it is what it is. The third downside I want to discuss about living in Fishers is affordability. The cost of living index for the state of Indiana is 89.9, making it the 8th least expensive state to live in the US. But here's the thing, that number is an average for the state of Indiana as a whole, not necessarily Hamilton County, where Fishers is. The fact of the matter is, Hamilton County is the most expensive county to live in Indiana. Over the past 5 years, the average home value for Hamilton County has increased 50%, which is thanks to the post-pandemic housing market where homes are still in high demand. I've been saying this for years. Indiana has been undervalued compared to other areas in the United States with the same ecosystem, and Indiana is now catching up to those values. Amazing schools, tons of shopping, great dining, and low crime rate are things that affect home values, which makes affording a home in Fishers more difficult than it was in the past. Fishers has always been a great place to live, and the more people that find out about Fishers and move here, the more valuable homes become, which can make it less affordable to live here. All right, so now let's talk about the most exciting development coming to Fishers since it became a city nearly 10 years ago, and that's the Fishers Community Center at Johnson Farms. Now, this project has been in the planning phase for years, and it's finally been announced that the city of Fishers will be building a 105,000 square foot community center at the corner of East 121st Street and Hoosier Road. Now, the cool thing about the community center is that it was designed based upon the input from over 3,500 Fishers residents and will include amenities like a dog park, indoor walking track, aquatic facility, indoor playground, and so much more. According to the Fishers website, the community center will offer both memberships and day passes with discounts for Fishers residents. The project has already broke ground and with an anticipated opening date of spring of 2025. Some of the highlights of the community center is a 5,300 square foot indoor playground. That's amazing. An aquatics facility with a zero depth entry warm water pool with a water slide. Okay, that sounds cool. And 18,600 square foot gymnasium, a childcare facility, cafe, and a roof terrace that can be rented to host outdoor activities and outdoor gatherings. And of course, more than that. As a Fishers resident myself, I'm so excited about the new community center and cannot wait until it opens. All right, so there you have it. My list of pros and cons of living in Fishers, Indiana. Do you think I missed anything? If you live in Fishers, what is your favorite part or least favorite part about living in this area? Please post it in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with my list or completely disagree. Doesn't matter. Once again, I'm Cameron Geesaman, your favorite Indianapolis YouTubing realtor. And that's it for me today. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe if you don't want to miss any of our other videos in the future about the Indianapolis and surrounding areas. And if you want to see more pros and cons videos like this, click the video right here. Catch you in the next one.